Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We're just sitting outside next to the lake. The view here is so beautiful. You can see behind us Bhaktivedanta Manor. Another beautiful view. Beautiful morning. Varaha Dwadasi today.
I've just been in the morning program, Mangalati, Japa, Guru Puja class. And this is just a little reading pre-breakfast to finish up the morning program.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Where are we reading from?
Canto 3, chapter 23. No, chapter 32, text 23. Engagement in Krishna consciousness and the application of devotional service unto Krishna make it possible to advance in knowledge and detachment, as well as in self-realization. Purport. It is said by less intelligent men that bhakti yoga, or devotional service, is meant for persons who are not advanced in transcendental knowledge and renunciation. But the fact is that if one engages in the devotional service of the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, he does not have to attempt separately to practice detachment or to wait for an awakening of transcendental knowledge. It is said that one who engages unflinchingly in the devotional service of the Lord actually has all the good qualities of the demigods developed in him automatically. One cannot discover how such good qualities develop in the body of a devotee, but actually it happens. There is one instance where a hunter was taking pleasure in killing animals, but after becoming a devotee he was not prepared to kill even an ant. Such is the quality of a devotee. That's true. Not that I used to deliberately step on ants because I think they're gross anyway because they're bugs. But I'll be honest, after I took to the process and reading and that, I'd mostly twist my ankle before I stepped on an ant, like when I'm out running or walking or whatever.
You're not very fond of bugs, are you?
No, that doesn't mean I stepped on them before. I didn't, but I made a conscious effort not to afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, interesting, the qualities of a devotee, how they develop. And it's true, we see transformation when people take to the process. Naturally, they just begin to develop good qualities. Of course, deepening and expanding across the 26 qualities of a devotee. Someone who's become a devotee would look at those qualities and think, God, I've got so far to go. But when we look retrospectively, look with hindsight, we may see that, wow, yeah, but I actually used to be much worse. That's me anyway. My wife has always been pure as the driven snow. So
the snow that is the doo-doo underneath it.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram.
You know when you're playing and you're like, ugh.
Next paragraph. Those who are very eager to advance in transcendental knowledge can engage themselves in pure devotional service without wasting time and mental speculation. For arriving at the positive conclusions of knowledge in the absolute truth, the word Brahmadarshanam is significant in this verse. Brahmadarshanam means to realize or to understand the transcendence. One who engages in the service of Vasudeva can actually realize what Brahman is. If Brahman is impersonal, then there is no question of darshanam, which means seeing face to face. Darshanam refers to seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Unless the seer and the seen are persons, there is no darshanam. Brahma darshanam means that as soon as one sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can at once realize what impersonal Brahman is. A devotee does not need to make separate investigations to understand the nature of Brahman. Bhagavad Gita also confirms this. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. A devotee at once becomes a self-realized soul in the absolute truth. Okay, so interesting how it's connected to the verse. Engagement in Krishna consciousness, application of devotional service unto Krishna makes it possible to advance in knowledge and detachment as well as in self-realization. So this is also a similar verse to earlier in the Bhagavatam in chapter 2 of the first canto, Divinity and Divine Service, where it says that knowledge and detachment arise automatically just simply by the performance of devotional service. But Prabhupada is really stressing here on this point, Brahma Darshanam, and how one gets the darshan. Darshan means there has to be two persons, the seer and the seen. And to have that experience is, means it's a personal situation. It's not impersonal. So like that, seeing face to face.
Alright, text 24. The exalted devotee's mind becomes equipoised in sensory activities, and he is transcendental to that which is agreeable and not agreeable. Purport. The significance of advancement in transcendental knowledge and detachment from material attraction is exhibited in the personality of a highly advanced devotee. For him, there is nothing agreeable or disagreeable, because he does not act in any way for his personal sense gratification. Whatever he does, whatever he thinks, is for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, either in the material world or in the spiritual world. His equipoised mind is completely manifested. I got distracted because there's a whole gang of geese.
Flock, they're called.
Gang. And yeah, they're all looking at us. So
well, they're listening to the Bhagavatam. I was thinking, wow, they're hearing,
Right, let me continue then.
Yeah.
Alright, where are we? He can understand that in the material world there is nothing good. Everything is bad due to its being contaminated by material nature. The materialist conclusion of good and bad, moral and immoral, etc. are simply mental concoction or sentiment. Actually, there is nothing good in the material world. Yeah,
Confirmed.
they're geese confirmed. In the spiritual world, everything is absolutely good. There is no inebriety in the spiritual varieties.
There's no inebriety in the spiritual varieties.
Because a devotee accepts everything in spiritual vision. He is equipoised. That is the symptom of his being elevated to the transcendental position. He automatically attains detachment, vairagya, then gyan, knowledge, and then actual transcendental knowledge. The conclusion is that an advanced devotee dovetails himself in the transcendental qualities of the Lord. And in that sense, he becomes qualitatively one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Well, I would agree there. There is nothing good in the material world. And it's interesting. Having quite a few realizations with this on a personal level. And it's like, it actually brings inner peace if you can just say that and acknowledge that a lot of stuff going on is because we are in this material world, and as Krishna even says in the Bhagavad Gita, it's temporary and it's miserable, and anything that's temporary is not going to bring you happiness because you're going to lose it. Like if you sit down to eat, this meal's going to finish and then that's the end of that. Or if you're friends with someone, then they're going to die, or you go on holiday, it comes to an end. So yeah, it's true. It's interesting. It's like, a lot of issues or arguments, or this one's like this one's, it's all temporary, and it's all related to their material body and the conditionings that they have and the interactions they have with the modes, and the way I'm responding and dealing with it is my material body and the conditionings I have and the modes that I'm interacting with and to the level that I am transcending, as it were. So yeah, I think the more you think on that level, the more actually we can all be peaceful and get on.
Wow, sounds like the peace formula. It is a little bit kind of how to say, I know for coming to Krishna consciousness. Not that I'm Krishna conscious, but coming to, teachings of Srila Prabhupada. I was very much in this space of wanting to, be positive and not be kind of derogatory, and and then you read something where it says there isn't anything good in the material world. But I think that maybe we've discussed this before, and that's true, like you just said. But at the same time, if we see things in the material world in connection with Krishna, then that's no longer material. It's actually spiritual. One devotee was just sharing with me the other day, I think I might have said this the other day also, that Krishna plus everything, or meaning anything, equals Vrindavan. So if we add Krishna to our work, we add Krishna to our family. And we were just hearing class the other morning, they were talking about 0, 0, 0, zeros. In material life, there's so many zeros, but if you put a 1 in front of the 0, then the 0 has value. But without that 1, which is Krishna, then everything is valueless, useless, and really of no benefit to us. So I think that's an important point. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll read one more? Yes?
Yeah, because the sun's moved now. It is morning, mind you. It's not even 9 o'clock, is it?
No, it's not. It's exactly.
But when the sun was
9:06.
When the sun was like in my face and I couldn't see you, everyone out there, it was warm, but
yeah, now it's getting a little cooler.
Yeah.
Because of his transcendental, so this is text 25, because of his transcendental intelligence, the pure devotee is equipoised in his vision and sees himself to be uncontaminated by matter. He does not see anything as superior or inferior, and he feels himself elevated to the transcendental platform of being equal in qualities with the Supreme Person. Purport. Perception of the disagreeable arises from attachment. Perception of the disagreeable arises from attachment. Means if you have a disagreement, it's because you are attached to something. You're attached to an outcome, attached to being right, attached to a certain result, attached to having or owning or possessing or controlling something. Nice point. A devotee has no personal attachment to anything. Therefore, for him, there is no question of agreeable or disagreeable. Interesting. Like you were just saying, everything becomes peaceful. For the service of the Lord, he can accept anything, even though it may be disagreeable to his personal interest. In fact, he is completely free from personal interest, and thus anything agreeable to the Lord is agreeable to him. For example, for Arjuna, at first fighting was not agreeable, but when he understood that the fighting was agreeable to the Lord, he accepted the fighting as agreeable. That is the position of a pure devotee. For this personal interest, there is nothing which is agreeable or disagreeable. Everything is done for the Lord, and therefore he is free from attachment and detachment. That is the transcendental stage of neutrality. A pure devotee enjoys life in the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Enjoys life in the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. That's interesting. But I think that makes a lot of sense. It's very powerful, that we're just naturally attached, but a devotee isn't meant to be attached to anything. He sees everything in connection to Krishna, whether it's money, house, home, family, everything's connected to Krishna. So if Krishna wants to take him away, well, what can I do? I'm not attached. Now, seems interesting because we have experience of Srila Prabhupada sometimes almost fighting for things like Giriraj Maharaj will be coming soon, and he's written this book about the Juhu temple and how much Srila Prabhupada had to fight to keep that alive and to make it happen. And you might, I know sometimes when I was hearing about it, and also some of the devotees who were there say that, they were thinking, God, it's so much trouble. It seems obvious that Krishna doesn't want this. So, and I guess you could say with Arjuna also, it's like he didn't want to fight, and that seemed to be the right thing. So, it's hard to know sometimes what exactly Krishna wants or will bring Krishna pleasure. We think it might be this, but it actually turns out to be that. So it's not just so easily black and white, like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why a lot of people have just issues and are disturbed, and they misinterpret the Bhagavad Gita. At the end of the day, it is about Krishna saying, Arjuna, fight your family, kill them all. And a lot of people no, and they get disturbed and stay away, because it's like, that's not what God said, that's not what Krishna said. And when it's kind of like emphasized or explained, then it creates a how can I put it, like, it affects the faith, because you think, but that's Krishna, why would he say that? But he did, and you have to understand the context, the bigger picture, and what's going on. And like Prabhupada says, when you walk into a movie theatre and then you try to give some interpretation of what's going on, so then you see the villain being beaten up, and you're like, what, this, what's going, but no, that's the villain, that's not the victim, as it were. And you come in at the wrong time. So in the same way, we don't know people's past lives, the karma, what we got to go through, and what we're seeing they're going through, or what's occurring for them, but we haven't seen the movie of their lives, except for Krishna. So one devotee was just telling me, senior devotee, this is, you have to see Krishna's hand. I was talking about some issue, you have to see Krishna's hand, and I was like, yeah, and I was just being honest, having a bit difficulty with that one, just when you're dealing with something, but I don't know the movie of my own lives, as it were.
Yeah. And
sort of how it's occurring and what's occurring and what it's for the future, if that makes sense. It's not a necessary slap. It could be a well done, but we take it as a like that
punch,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, you just made me think, like, if you're building a house and you show up at the beginning of the building of a structure of a house, and you see it's just like a big pit with lots of mud and this and that, and you think, God, what a mess, what happened? Looks like something's been destroyed. But no, actually something is being created. So in the beginning of creation, things aren't in their finished state, so we have to be patient and tolerant. And very good point. Yeah,
one very inspiring speaker, I have to remember her name for next time. She was saying all the setbacks that you have in your life, and she herself had major setbacks many years ago. They are setting you up for the best season of your life, which is yet to come.
Nice.
It was a really nice,
That's
very
wonderful.
nice motivational
Setting you
speaker.
up for the best season of your life, which is yet to come.
Yeah, so what you setbacks and what you have to deal with, you don't realize it's propelling you forward.
Nice. Okay, so I think we should end there.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Please read Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, absorb yourselves, and chant Hare Krishna. So
comment,
subscribe,
and share.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.